Hi again everyone, I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is a sponsored video being sponsored by RJ for Sam. And here's her story. Dear Ollie, sorry I'm unable to offer a donation at this time, but if a sponsor becomes available, please feel free to share my story as I hope to help others heal. Please refer to me as Sam to protect my privacy. I'm 41 years old, and I'm the youngest of two children. I've only recently come to terms with the abuse inflicted by my codependent mom and my narc dad. My earliest memories from childhood are being the last kid picked up from preschool and my narc dad beating my mom with belts. By the age of 11, I was still banging my head to sleep at night, and I had also begun to pull out my hair. I would crawl into bed with my brother at night because I suffered from nightmares. I recently discovered that all three of these signs are severe post-traumatic stress disorder. Nevertheless, they didn't see it as serious enough to warrant any medical attention. Anyway, by the age of 14, they did decide that I needed counseling, but at that time I wasn't ready to open up about how unstable our life was. Ollie, by that point, we had lived with both my grandmothers, my mom's best friend, two of my aunts, etc. I lose count. Mind you, social services still saw fit to grant my parents temporary custody of my three narc aunts' children. I also still walk on my tiptoes like the other young lady who emailed you as a result of the fear by a screaming mother after a night of partying. We knew whenever it had been a party the night before because we had the privilege of cleaning up the saucers with the residue coke and razor blades that were left around. My dad was abusive financially, but my mom's abuse was psychological and verbal. My dad had a well-paying job and my mom worked too, but apparently meeting our needs wasn't on the list of priorities. It was hard. I recall one year my brother and I had to go back to school shopping at the Salvation Army. They had no money for school clothes, but they had money to take us on vacation to Florida one year, which I later realized was actually one of my dad's big coke scores that didn't pan out, and we got stranded coming back. Our electricity was shut off shortly after returning from the vacation coke run. My brother enlisted in the military when I had 3 more years of high school, left and my parents were forced to move again. We moved into a 1-bedroom apartment. My mom's 2 male cousins joined us shortly after moving in, one of whom had a crack addiction so bad that he'd sell his plasma once a week for money to buy drugs. At that point, I was determined to get out any way that I could, so I turned to the streets. I got into trouble, but a compassionate judge gave me a second chance at life, and I met someone special, and I've been able to stay out of trouble now for over 20 years. My brother became the golden child. He left his wife and moved back home with my mother and my dad after my dad passed away a few years ago. I realize now that my mom seems to always find herself in a position as an enabler to narcissistic behavior. She never shielded her children from my dad's abuse or her family's abuse, so is it possible that my mom is actually the covert narcissist who hides behind overt narcs? Thanks, Ollie. I'd love to get your advice on this and hopefully someone else as well. Thank you so much. God bless you. Yeah, of course, because your mother's just sucking up. She got your brother to move back in with her, didn't she? Look, the covert narc is so dangerous because you think that you can go years thinking they're the victim when they're the ones pulling the strings or they're going right along with it. You drove to Florida for a coke binge to go. I mean, come on, look at this woman. Of course, I mean, this is more than your father doing this with the saucers of coke and the parties, and it's just as much her fault as it is his. So absolutely, I mean, that was my thought at the end, like that she's a covert narcissist. She's not an enabler. A lot of times the covert narcissist will take abuse okay, will take physical abuse because it helps solidify their victimhood. But even in their abuse, they're still manipulating. Even if they're getting hit, believe it or not, they're the ones in control. I've seen it happen. They get hit, they threaten to call the police, I don't want to. It can happen. I don't know if that was the deal, if she was ever threatening to turn your father in or anything like that, but believe me, just because someone necessarily gets hit doesn't always make them the victim. It's very easy to be the covert narcissist in that as well. That's usually in some sort of relationship type deal, spousal, boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm not talking between I'm not talking that between children and adults. I'm talking to adults. Now that's not to say that every time somebody gets hit they were trying to push buttons, but it happens. It can happen. Your dad had a well-paying job, but obviously meeting needs wasn't on the list of priorities. That's your mother. That's your mother. So, yeah, I think it's not only possible, I think it's probably likely your mother is a covert narc. So, I hope that helps. Thank you to RJ for sponsoring. Thank you, Sam, for your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a private phone call, have a private video made, a Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video just like this for someone who can't afford it and needs help, or just sponsor the channel in general, see it grow, help pay the bills. Since this channel is funded 100% by contributions from you, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up on the screen at the end of this video to walk you through all of that. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.